at least 2 blankets or pillows or towels, and we'll start seated. You can sit against a wall or with your legs and with your legs in any position. All right, and begin by noticing your surroundings here. Noticing how your body feels, how you feel physically. Noticing what your energy level is like. And feeling your breath as it comes in and your breath as it goes out. You could breathe out through your mouth, a long exhale. And again. And you could transition to breathing out through your nose if you wanted, or you could stick with the mouth if that works better. Try to get really three-dimensional inhales and long exhales, but soft and easy. Noticing how your mind feels today. So this level, one of the sheaths or koshas in yoga of a human, the layers, is the manomayokosha, which is the mental and emotional body. So tuning in there and noticing what's going on for you mentally and emotionally today. Inviting whatever is there in, welcoming whatever it is. And as we practice, you might notice, how are you talking to yourself in your practice with your thoughts? What are your patterns of thinking and beliefs that may or may not serve you, but just becoming aware of them as you practice today. So sticking with these three-dimensional, soft and easy breaths, and let's just begin to move a little bit. So we'll begin by circling the torso around, and these torsos could be big or these torsos could be small. And then reversing directions. Good. And then coming right into the center. And we'll inhale and just reach the arms up. And as you exhale, leaning to one side, doesn't matter which side, let that bottom shoulder relax as you bend over any amount. And then inhale back up. And exhale, lean over to the other side. Keep going with that. One more time each side. Good. And then next time you reach up toward the ceiling, we'll bring the arms down behind or next to you. Fingertips can come down, and then just inhale and roll the shoulder heads back as you lift the chest. And exhale, softening, coming back to center. Let's take the legs out in front, and you can put your hands behind your back and just windshield wiper the knees side to side. Right? Noticing how this feels through your hips and your back. You might feel like you want to come off of your prop. Feel free to do that. And also feel free to make this bigger if you want to. So if you want to, you could turn it into a swivel seat, reaching around to each side, stretching and twisting. Good. And now let's come into the center and we'll sit cross-legged. Now, if you need to prop up your knees or sit differently, of course you can. And we're going to practice some seated poses. We're going to do our little sequence here where we practice some of the Sanskrit names. That's a good way to engage the mind when we focus on the manomayokosha and just give another focus. All right, so this pose is called Sukhasana. Sukhasana, and it means easy pose. Okay, and just take a breath here. Trying to sit up tall. You could always prop yourself from behind as well. Good, and now as you exhale, let's lean back to switch our leg position. We're going to take the legs open, and this is Upavista Konasana. So upright, wide angle pose. Good, and let's inhale here and exhale. Good, and then inhale again. And as you exhale, let's lean back and come into Baddha Konasana, so bound angle pose, sometimes called cobbler's pose, because a cobbler might have a shoe between their feet working on that. And you can either hold your feet or your ankles or behind your back. Good, inhaling here. Exhaling. Good, inhale again. And let's come back to Sukhasana, but perhaps with the other leg in front. Maybe just do the one that doesn't feel as natural to you. Inhale here, sitting up tall. And exhale, Upavista Konasana, opening up. And now if you want to lean forward, you always can too, okay? So that's up to you. We'll just take a breath here. And then inhaling, sitting back up. And exhale, let's come back to Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Good, and inhale, sitting up tall. And exhale, now we'll go to Dandasana, that's staff pose. So your legs come out in front and your hands are down at your sides or behind your back and everything's engaged. Even the feet, the ankles are in dorsiflexion and you're stiff as a staff here. So inhale and exhale. Good, inhale again. And exhale, Upavista Konasana. So we'll open up the legs wide again. And if you want to fold forward, you could. We'll just take a breath there. And inhaling as you start to come up. Good, exhale, Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together. Now, there are three versions of this. One is upright, okay, like really tall, pulling against your legs. One is hinging at the hips with a more or less neutral spine. And the other is a rounded spine. Sometimes it's easier to move the feet further away. And you round the spine as though you're trying to take your head down towards your feet. So you could do any of those versions. Okay, let's take another breath here. And as you're ready, you could start to come up if you're leaning. Inhale up. Let's bring the legs together and we'll do Navasana. So exhale as you either bring the hands behind your back and lift one or both legs up, or you could hold behind the legs like this. You could have the arms release like this. You might even try to straighten the legs, okay? So any of those variations are fine. Take another breath, keep breathing. And then let's exhale, Sukhasana, either leg in front. And you can always lean forward in this pose as well. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, inhale, rising up. If you're leaning, that is, and exhale, Dandasana, legs out in front. Good, inhale and exhale. Now, Dandasana is here. You can stay here, or if you want to come into Paschimottanasana, you could. That is folding forward, hinging at the hips. Now, Paschimottanasana means Western stretch. So The idea here is that if you were doing yoga in the morning facing the sun, which is one tradition, that right now it would be the back side of your body, which is facing the west. That would be stretching. Okay. Good. And then as you're ready, let's inhale, rise up if you're folded, and exhale, Navasana, any of the variations. Remember, you could do arms with one leg, you could do both legs, here or here. Good. Good, and now Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together. Any of the variations. We'll just take one extra breath here. So you can hinge in neutral, you can round, or you can sit up tall. And rising up if you're folded. And then exhale, we'll do Janu Shirshasana. So that's a head to knee pose. We'll take one foot in or one knee out, one leg straight ahead. Okay. And you could sit up tall and prop yourself if it's or you could prop your knee, or if it's appropriate for you, you could fold forward over the straight leg. Some people might even reach the foot. Okay. And it's called head to knee, but don't feel like you're trying to force your head to your knee, okay? That's just the name of the pose and one version of the pose. And when you're ready, let's inhale, rise. And as you exhale, just switch. Janu Shirshasana, other side. Any variation. What I like to do is turn my chest so it faces the knee. Then I extend, hinging at the hip. So it's not a rounded pose, although you may see part of my back round, but I am trying to extend my chest towards my shin rather than my head toward my knee. Good. Putting a big wide breath on the inhale. Good, and then as you are ready here, we'll inhale to rise up. And exhale, bring those knees in. One more Navasana pose. Any variation. Okay. Good. Now let's place those feet down on the floor. And I take the hands behind the back. Now, a couple weeks ago, I can't remember which week, we practiced this pose in the chair. So if it's too much for you on the floor or for your wrists or shoulders, you just do this version, okay? So this version is inhale, roll the shoulder heads back, okay? That would be here. And you could pause here, you could even do fists, okay? The other version is to try to lift the hips off the floor. Okay, Purvottanasana. So Eastern facing stretch. We're opening up the front side of the body. You try to lift the hips up. Traditionally, this is, or I shouldn't say, well, it is traditionally, but you don't need to do it this way, would be with straight legs, which is super challenging. I don't even know that I've done the version of that pose in a long time. Okay, otherwise I call it reverse table. Good. And coming down when you're ready. And choose any of the ones we've done so far, whichever one you want to do. You might fold forward, you might stay upright. Good, and now let's come onto a hands and knees for cat and cow pose. Moving with your breath when you're ready. You could inhale for either movement and exhale for the other. Noticing how your spine feels and also noticing what your mind is doing, right? So checking in there, noticing when you get distracted, noticing what your mind might be focused on today. And again, how you're talking to yourself as you practice yoga. Okay, now we're going to just come to neutral. And let's look over the right shoulder. But as you do that, let the hips go to the left. Move as much as you need to look far back there. Okay. And then go to the right and keep breathing, of course. And back to or I guess I said the same side twice, but going side to side again. Good. And then coming back to the center now, you can use any of the get-ups we've been practicing. So you might use the bear, you might use the lunge, or you might use the toddler get-up. I'm going to do the toddler get-up, which is landing in a squat. So I'm going to push my hands back. Boom. Practice in my squat. And then stand. And once you stand upright, let's inhale and reach your arms up toward the ceiling. And exhale, bring them out to the sides and down. And just do that again. I'm just realizing I need to plug in. Okay, maybe do it 3 times. And on the 3rd time, bringing your palms down and through the center in front of your chest in Anjali Mudra. Good. I'm pausing there, shoulders relaxed. So a mudra is a hand position. This is Anjali Mudra, and it's all about coming into your center, right? So the right and the left sides of you meeting in the center. You could also find more meaning here for yourself. It could be centering, right? Just an act of centering for yourself. It could be gratitude, or it could even be prayer. So whatever seems to connect best for you is usually the one to choose. Take a few breaths here with that intention. Good. And when you're ready, you can just let your arms come down. Good. And we'll work with our toes a little bit here. So the first thing is let's try to lift all of our toes, big toes and other toes. And you may not be able to do that, so just do the best you can. Keep breathing. See if you can notice that your arches lift too when you do this. You might even use your fingers in some of these as well. Looking at them will help. May help. Good. Now let's try to put just the big toes down and keep the other ones lifted. Now, if you want to do this seated in a chair, you could. Again, you can push your thumbs down and look. Okay, you can also use your hands to make it happen because that helps too, right? You're just trying to get those neuromuscular connections going. I see. Good, one more breath. And then from there, let's try the opposite. So big toes up, the other toes down. Okay, same thing. You can use your hands. You can manipulate them. Keep breathing. Good, and release. All right. Now we're going to lift all 10 again. Okay. Now see if you can spread out your toes. So I'm going to start with my pinky. Again, you might just be sending the brain waves there. Nothing might be happening, okay? So you're going to try to move your pinky out to the side and place it down. Then the next one, the next one, next one, and the big toe kind of comes in. So you're spreading them all wide. Breathe. Good, and then just relax them. All right, so now scrunch and spread your foot as though you're making a fist and then spreading it back out. All right. I'm standing on one leg to do it. You could do it seated or holding onto your chair. A few more times. And now let's try the other leg. Good. And then standing on both feet, let's try to feel the three corners of each foot. Ball of big toe, ball of the pinky toe side of the foot, center of heel, and inhale, stand tall, relaxing your shoulders. All right, let's start to roll the ankle by tracing the perimeter of one of your feet 3 times in one direction and then reversing the direction. You can look at this too, it'll help your brain to get it, and let your knee and hip move. Good. After you've done 3 each direction, standing for a moment, noticing the difference in the 2 sides. And let's try the other one. Good. All right, now let's stand with the feet either touching or just close together. Okay. And now we'll work the knees a little bit. So we're just making circles with the knees. We're also moving around kind of groovy on the feet a few times in one direction and then a few times in the other direction. Good. And then coming upright, we'll widen the feet and hula hoop the hips. You can go slowly or quickly. You can make them big or small. A couple times in one direction and then reversing it. And so we're systematically just going through the joints of the body. We've already done a lot with the spine. We've done flexion and extension and cat and cow. We've also done a lot with the hips and knees as we've been on the floor, right? And we've also done side bending with the spine. Let's do a little twisting with the spine. So we're just going to, and we did twisting too, actually, if you did swivel seat. But let's do a swing and twist here. And this is a good way, something to do every day. Just go through the joints of your body. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, just oil your joints a little bit. You can try here to take a forceful exhale as you twist. Blow out the mouth. Just notice if that changes anything. And then let's come back to the center. And with our wrists, we're going to just take them out to the sides and stretch the palms away from the elbows, elbows away from shoulders, keeping your wrists and hands a little lower than your shoulders. Good. Inhale, and we'll make stop signs with the hands, spreading the fingers wide. And then exhale, we'll make a fist and flex the wrists, drawing the knuckles downward. Okay, 2 more times. Good, and then you can bend the elbows and just roll the wrists around a few times. And then taking the arms out again. My palms are up now. I'm just bending the elbows and straightening. A couple times in this direction, and then I'm going to do it forward. And now let's let those arms come down and inhale, squeeze the shoulders up, and exhale, let them drop. And let's try it 2 more times. And 1 more. And now we'll squeeze them back. Inhale, exhale, relax. Inhale back. Exhale, relax. 1 more time. Good, and now just let the arms swing. You can keep it small or you can make it big, just alternating. Good. Now if you want to, you can start to make circles. So one's going one direction and one's going in the other direction. You might find that they're both going in the same direction. Most of you are, but that's okay. And then let's try it the other way. Watch. This is how you try to make them go in the opposite one. So you look at one, look at your hands, and then we're going to take one up, one down. All right. Oh, this way's the harder way for me. Good. And then just let them go. Shake everything out a bit. All right. Now, let's get your chair now. And we'll just place the chair next to you for balance. And you could use a wall instead if you wanted. Get yourself a focal point. And inhale, stand tall. Exhale, relax your shoulders and your jaw. And then let's inhale and bring the right knee up. And exhale, let's try to straighten that leg out. It's okay if it has to lower a lot. Okay, inhale, bend. Exhale, down. Good, I'm going to change the breath a little bit. So inhale, stand tall. Exhale, left knee up. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and down. Okay, inhale, stand tall. Exhale, right knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and down. I'm trying to go for slow. If you can, inhale, tall. Exhale, left knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend and down. One more each side. Good. And then just pause. Notice how you feel. Follow your breath in and out. Take a sigh, perhaps. All right, now, if you would like to use balance support for this, you'll want to take your chair near a wall. Let me show you. So we're going to be putting our foot on the chair. Most of you guys that are here know this one. But if you were doing it with a wall or a piece of furniture, the seat would be facing me and I would have the wall on my side. Okay, you don't have to come into it yet. I just wanted you to see what we're doing so you can get how to set up. Okay. If you don't want a wall, you don't have to use one. You're going to stand in front of the chair seat. Inhale, stand tall. And exhale, see if you can lift the right foot up, knee up, and see if you can float it off the chair. Now, if you have to put it right down on it, go for it, and then just try to lift it again and try a few lifts. Breathing, right? Being tall, floating that foot still if you can, and then let it come down to the chair. Good. Notice if you're clenching anywhere. And then inhale, let's reach the arms up. And as you exhale, I'm going to twist toward the right, bringing my left hand to the outer knee. And my right hand can either reach back behind me or it can come to my hip. And if you want to, you can turn to look over your right shoulder. Might throw off your balance, so keep breathing. Keep pressing down into both feet. And then exhale, untwist. Good. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, I'm going to straighten this right leg out. Now, I need to hop back in order to be able to do that. Okay, first, again, you might need balance support, right? Just noticing, can the hips be even across the front here? Okay, it's okay to have that knee be a little bit bent too. Now, could you inhale, stand tall, head towards ceiling. Exhale, maybe you can try to lift the leg off the chair, even if it's just for a split second, okay? Try not to hold your breath. Exhale and lift. Take a couple breaths or put it right back down. Good. And then inhale here. You could stay right here, or you could exhale and hinge at the hips, leaning over the leg a little or a lot. Okay, the hands could come to your leg or the chair. You might, in fact, want to bend the right knee a little bit so that you can really turn the tail up toward the ceiling so you're not rounding through the spine. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Neck at ease. And 1 more breath. Good. Let's bend that right knee more. Press into the foot. Stand up and float the leg. You might even reach the arms up. And then come down. And you guys, let's step in side to side, other side, all right? So we'll inhale, stand tall. Exhale, we're gonna bend the left knee and march and try to float it for a moment. Good. You can keep coming down and up if it's difficult to hold it there. And then we'll place the foot down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, we're twisting to the left. Right hand comes across, left arm can stretch back or come to hip. And you might even look over your left shoulder or somewhere to the left. Keep getting tall through your spine. Exhale as you untwist, and we'll straighten out that top leg. You can back yourself up if necessary. Pause, notice how you feel. And if you want to, you can hinge on the exhale coming forward. Again, you can bend the knee, which can really help to extend the spine. All right, as you're ready, inhale to bend that knee more, the front knee, and exhale, we'll push upright. Inhale, can try to lift the arms and the leg off the chair if you want. Try to hold for a breath or 2. And then come down. Good, and you might want to shake it out or hula hoop. Just noticing. All right, so for this next one, you guys that are all present here live, you'll just want to keep your chair like it is. If you're doing this and your back hurts or you're really tight in the backs of the legs, you may want to have the back of the chair facing you. If your back is actually hurting right now, you may not want to do this folded forward like we are. You might want to stay upright. You can even use the wall to stay upright more. Okay, here we go. Right toes beneath the chair, left foot like you're on 2 skis rather than a tightrope, and stepping it back, not super far. You'll decide in a moment how far, okay? Inhale, stand tall. Good. And exhale, if it feels okay to hinge forward, you're gonna put a little bend in your right knee and scoot the right hip back, hinging forward, hands to chair, seat, or back. Good. Now, right here, could you try to turn your tail up toward the ceiling, almost like you were doing a cow pose? Yeah, so you might need to bend the knee more to do that. Shift the right hip back. Good. And then just shift your weight between right and left foot. Might feel a little funky to do that because you're going forward and back too. Just kind of taking the weight to the front foot and then to the back foot. And now can you find a space in the middle where your weight is even between the 2 feet? Your hips will likely be a little more square. Inhale. Now you could bend that front knee or you could straighten it. Either way, I'm coming into Parsvottanasana. So you can stay like you are, or you can fold forward toward the chair or toward the floor. If this bothers your back, you just stay upright. A couple more breaths. Feeling the 3 corners of both of your feet on the floor. And then let's put a little bend in the knee, the right knee, and come up onto your hands again. And inhale, reach the chest forward. And exhale, placing your right hand on your right hip. And then turn the chest to the right. Now you could straighten the right leg as well as you do this. It's a version of revolved triangle pose. And exhale, turn back toward the chair. Inhale, bend the front knee more. And exhale, stepping left foot forward, right foot back. Now put a bend in the knee. Reach the chest forward. Try to turn the tail up a bit. Good. And there's just a little bend in the knee as you shift your weight from between the feet toward the front foot, then toward the back foot. Not too much weight on the hands, they're just there for support. And now trying to find the middle space. And a little bend in the knee might help you to tilt that tail up. And then exhale, you can stay upright or you could fold. Feeling the three corners of both of your feet here. Jaw and neck relaxed. Good. And then let's put a bigger bend in the knee as you inhale, reach the chest forward. Coming onto your hands, exhale, left hand to left hip. You can twist your chest to the left. Good. And untwisting yourself, turning back towards your chair. Let's step the left leg back and come into a chair downward dog, stretching it. You could always do this on the floor if you prefer. Good, and now we're gonna come down onto the floor. Just make sure all your blankets and stuff are close by. We're gonna use them. And we're gonna leave the chair here because we're gonna use that too, okay? So first, let's turn, well, you can turn however it works in your house. But for me, I'm gonna turn away from the chair because I'm not using it just yet, just so I have enough space. And I'm gonna come down onto my belly into Sphinx pose. Pressing the pubic bone down to the floor, engaging my glute muscles. You could always have elbows wide and be lower. Okay. Inhaling here. Exhaling, can you engage your lower abdominal muscles? And now let's lower down to the floor. You can pad your forehead or be however it feels best on your neck and shoulders. Now let's tighten your right leg. And inhale as though you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your toes. Let's lift the right leg without lifting the right hip. And then exhale, bring it down and relax it. And then engage the left leg. Inhale to lift it. And exhale, bring it down. Good. Keep going side to side. So a couple things here. One is you're trying to keep the legs straight in this variation that we're doing right now. And the second is you're not going very high. So we're not using the low back muscles for this. Okay, so if you find that you're using your low back muscles, don't lift as high so that your hips really stay down. And if you have low back issues, it might just clench anyway. So instead, maybe just practice engaging the legs, trying to really focus on that. The next time, you can either keep alternating or you could try to lift both legs and hold, really stretching those toes back, getting the legs as straight as you can for right now. And then release. You can wiggle the hips. Let's inhale back to Sphinx pose. You could always come to Cobra if you prefer, lifting the elbows. Engaging the glutes. And then moving from Sphinx with forearms down, let's bring the left knee forward like you're crawling. And then exhale, engaging the lower abdominals, and bring the right knee underneath you. So now you're up on your knees. You're going to sit back into child's pose. You can sit back towards your heels if your knees feel okay to do that. Or you could stay up in puppy dog pose and stretch your arms forward. And you can use any props you want, like blankets behind knees, or below forehead, or under knees, or beneath ankles. Every inhale, breathing into your backside, your back body. And on your exhales, letting something go, letting something soften. You might even wiggle your hips around. Okay, you can place your hands by your head and lift your head up. We're going to get our blankets going. I'm going to do a few different things here with these blankets today. The first one is we're going to do a version of a chest opener. So I'm going to take one blanket and you can fold it. I'm going to roll mine into a tight little taquito or a burrito. That's going to go behind my upper back. I'm facing feet toward chair. I'm not going to use my chair just yet, but that's okay. I'm going to have my knees bent for this. The second blanket could be behind my head. I'm actually not going to use mine, but you could have one there. Okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do is this burrito or taquito, it's going to go around where a bra line would be, even if you don't wear a bra, okay? And my knees are bent. I put it right there so it's underneath my armpits, right? And I put my hands behind my head, feet grounded. I'm going to inhale and open up the chest, leaning back. So that's where you might want to move the blanket out from behind your head. Leaning back whatever amount you want to. Feeling the ribs, imagining the ribs opening up like an accordion. And then as you exhale, feel like the sternum is moving downward and the ribs start to close to lift your head and shoulders. And your elbows can wrap around the ears if you want. And then repeat. Feel the feet grounded as you inhale, open up, leaning back. And exhale, sternum down. Your neck is at ease. You're carrying your head. Now, if you want to, you could let the head come down to the floor with the arms spread out above the blanket, but that might be too much for your back or for your neck, in which case you just take a second pillow or blanket and put it beneath your head like this. I just popped it under there. Spread your arms out if you can, making sure that your back feels groovy in this position. Take a couple breaths. And then as you're ready, and slowly roll to your side to come up. Okay, now we're going to take our blanket. And so if you're using a yoga blanket, you've got it folded like this. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to match the long end. So I'm going to fold it the long way, like the taco way. Okay. the thing you want for this blanket is you want it to be about the length of your torso. So you may have to fold it differently. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this blanket where my torso will be. So from my butt to my shoulders in front of the chair. Okay, my legs are going to go on the chair. At first, my chair, it's just going to be my heels on the chair. And then I'm going to use my second blanket or pillow or block below my head. Okay, so if you watch me, so you can see how the legs are going to be. If you're using a dining room chair, you'll want your chair to be sideways so your legs won't get caught in the back, okay? If you've got one of these folding chairs that my feet will go through eventually, not yet. Eventually, not yet, okay? So this is the position I'm going to be in. Got my back on this blanket, so my butt's on it, and so are my shoulders. I've got my head on my second thing, and do you see that my legs are in a 90-degree angle, or almost? My feet aren't high enough for that, but my knees are above my hips because I'm going to do a figure 4 stretch to start, okay? So my calves are not on the chair. All right. Then I'll inhale, lift the right leg up, and exhale, cross the ankle. Please take your time getting there. There's no rush. Okay. Now, this might be enough of a stretch. You might just stay here and press the right knee out to the side. Or you might thread the needle, holding behind that left leg by threading your right hand through the little hole here in the figure 4. Either one is fine. Take about 5 slow breaths. And when you're ready, you can exhale to switch sides. Left ankle crosses, gently pressing the left knee out or threading the needle. Good. And when you're ready, you can rest with legs over the chair with these blankets here. I'm just going to move my chair a little bit closer so that my calves can now be on it. You might need a third blanket underneath your legs if your chair is hard. Of course, you can always choose any resting position that feels best to you. And taking a few sighs, I will talk you into this relaxation pose, and then I will leave you to stay there as long as you'd like. Okay? So a few sighs or a lengthening of the exhale to eventually let go of breath control. And just soften through the eyes and your jaw, your inner thighs, ankles, shoulders. Inviting softness into your belly, your throat, your chest, and your arms and hands. Feeling the contrast of the different props supporting you, from the floor to the blankets or other things, the chair. and feeling for letting go to gravity. And if you know of a way of thinking or a belief that doesn't serve you very well, that just doesn't help your peace of mind, you might acknowledge that. And if you're not sure, don't worry about it. And then maybe you could think of the opposite of that thought. Or if you didn't have one, you could think of something encouraging that is helpful that you need to hear right now. And just saying that to yourself. Noticing how it feels in your body when you do that. And feeling as though you could drop a little bit deeper, letting go a little bit further.